Welcome back to I Know Football. I have another review for you guys today. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new Shock Doctor Performance Sport Insoles. These are actually the low profile cleat version. They come in two. They come in regular and a low profile. So what I'm going to cover today is I'll talk about the differences between the two types. I'll talk about the price, the different sizes, why you'll use these, or when I think you should use them, how to make them fit, how to cut them, and also the technology that's inside. So first, these cost $20. Both the regular and the low profile cleat cost $20, and we'll just look at first we'll just look at some of the technology in these. So both the low profile and the regular have the same technology. So it says here on the package that it improves the performance of tighter fitting soccer and football cleats. So this is for any type of cleat: lacrosse, football, soccer. You probably use them for baseball as well. They're thin, they're narrow through the midfoot and heel. They disperse cleat impact pressure. They provide better balance and support on uneven surfaces, and these particular ones weigh less than 1.6 ounces, and they're only 3 millimeters thin. The regular ones are going to be 5 millimeters thin, and they're going to weigh less than 2 ounces. So if you have a low profile cleat, for example, I've been using them in the Vapor Carbons, as you can see in here where it says Shock Doctor. So I've been using them in here. These are low profile cleats. They're speed cleats. They're low, so low profile. That is when I would recommend that you use the low profile cleat version. The regular cleat version you can use if you have mids. The reason is the regular ones they're a little bit like 2 millimeters thicker, so your heel is going to be a little higher, and you're not going to get the proper support by the heel counter to keep your ankle stabilized, so you might risk injury. That's the reason why you would want something like this for a low profile cleat. Like I said, these only cost $20. I think they have different types, but these are the performance sport versions. You can look online. They have different trim models. Some I think they go up to $40. The sizes for men, they go between 7 and 14. So instead of a small, medium, large, extra large, they actually have most sizing, to really make it fit into your cleat. Then the other thing is what's in it, what makes it, what it is, the sport insole, what makes it different from some other insoles. So this one, it says that it adapts to your foot. If you look at the different layers, it uses 3 different layers. So this green layer right here is an antimicrobial top liner, so your foot's not going to smell, not going to hold bacteria, things like that. So if you look at this middle layer right here, this is the shock absorption. So this is the foam that's actually going to absorb most of the shock and support from your body while you're running or jumping or doing what you're doing, whatever sport. And then if you look at, that's actually the black layer. If you look at this, the orange layer, that's going to be what they call a midfoot shock dome, and that's going to really the heavy shocks. That's going to support. So as you know, your legs, your ankles are connected to your knees, which are connected to your hips, and which are connected to your lower back. So this is supposed to relieve pain from plantar fasciitis, which if you have it, you would know, and some other joint issues. Here, I already talked about that, and then you have this little orange dot right here, and I'll show you that on the actual. But what that does is that's even specifically for your heel. It's going to provide that much more support at the point where your heel makes contact with the ground. The regular midsole is going to have the same exact technology. And it, again, like I said, it's just for if you wear mid cleats or something of that sort. So when to use them, I would suggest using these insoles only if you use insoles. If you use insoles in your regular shoes, or if you have cleat pain issues, or if you use a low profile cleat where you're just not getting support and your feet really hurt, then I would suggest this. If you're not having a problem with your cleats currently, I wouldn't suggest using these. I've never really had a problem with my cleats. I did use them in my Carbons, like I said, so I can give you my personal experience with them. And so this is how it comes, like this. This has already been trimmed to fit, obviously, because I've been testing it. And here's the original one that came with the Carbons. And here, if you've never seen the inside of a Carbon, it has Zoom Air in the back. That's the little air pocket right here. So it's really dense, compact air to provide support. A lot of shoes don't have this. This is one of the best supporting shoes for a heel, and it's kind of like the shock dome that's here. You know what I mean? But I do believe the air is a little bit better. So this is the insole that came with it. You can see, I mean, you know, this is what it comes with, and it has this little space here for the airbag. So, and instead of having it in here, it's in the airbag, and then it has, you know, something that's a little more dense for your forefoot. So this is what provides that kind of toe off and that support cushioning. This is a very low profile insole that comes with the carbons for your cleat. So this, as you can see, you saw me roll up the other one. This one I can't really roll up as much. I can roll up the front, but not the back. So this is kind of the insole, more or less, that you're going to find in something like the Alpha Pros, where they said it's dual density, where it's thicker at the back and thin at the front. This is the same thing. So this is going to be a little bit firmer here than the original insole, and then here it's going to have, it's softer. It's definitely softer throughout the midfoot. This doesn't provide any support. This provides a lot of cushioning. And then you have this in the front. And it's actually fairly soft and compressive, a lot like the Air, to tell you the truth of what it feels by hand. And then it's rigid all around here. You know, here's that rigid part to hold it into your shoe and to hold your foot. So my experience is, the reason why I use them in here is because these are older cleats. I was like, the cushioning is probably starting to go, and I don't mind if I rip these out. These are non-removable insoles, so I had to rip them out of the shoe. Some shoes come with removable, some non-removable. So just be careful of that. If you're buying them, make sure that you know if your insoles are non-removable or removable, because if they're non-removable, you won't be able to put them back in. So again, I did notice that it was firmer, and that's about the only difference I noticed. I know it's supposed to adapt to your foot. I didn't notice that. I only practice twice a week, but since I don't really normally use insoles, I would just stick with the normal one that's in my shoe. That's just me personally. But if you do use insoles, I definitely suggest using a Shock Dr. insole. It's $20 for two, and you know, I think it's definitely worth you testing it out. So how to make them fit? It's very simple to make these fit. How do you customize them? So once you get it, you know, I took it out and I took out the insole of my shoe, and then what I did is I just laid it over like this, and I drew a line with a marker. So this is the part that I actually cut off. It was like that. I drew a part with a marker, cut that off, and fit it into the shoe. It took me less than 30 seconds, and it actually was a perfect fit. Anyway, so that's my review. If you liked it, if you found it useful, remember to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you next week.